Hi everyone, this is Taylor Owens, and I'm a little under the weather, so I apologize if you cannot understand me. I'm so sorry. But this is going to be my campus analysis number 1 for liberal arts colleges. And I actually went to a liberal arts college in my undergrad, but I really wanted to focus on a college that I've never heard of and never went to, just to kind of learn about a different college that I've never experienced or went to. So I chose to talk about Davidson College, which is located in Davidson, North Carolina, and it's a liberal arts college. Excuse me. So the first component that I'm going to touch on is going to be the human aggregate environment. And for this component, I'm going to mention first that the student body is made up of 1,843 students, with 51% of that being males and 48% being females. And in the most recent class profile, which is the class of 2020, I broke down their ethnic backgrounds for you on the screen. You guys can read those numbers, but just notice that the biggest percentage is predominantly Caucasians at 67.1%, and the lowest amount, besides other or unreported, is Asian Americans at 6.8%. So there's definitely a significant difference in the background of the students. But one thing I noticed about the college's website is that they pride themselves on diversity and making sure that, they are having a bunch of different cultures, different characteristics that people identify as, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But Davidson College is dedicated to intellectual and cultural growth, according to their website, and they pride themselves on their student body being made up of talented people from the United States and other nations, chosen not only for their academic achievement, but for their combination of talents, aptitudes, worldview, service, and aspirations. And overall, the campus seems like a really inclusive community of scholars who are smart, driven, and kind. And like I said, they talk about being diverse and inclusive a lot throughout their website. For the next component, which is the physical environment, Davidson College is a very picturesque campus. It was established in 1837 by Presbyterians of North Carolina, and the buildings still reflect that time period. They were built in the 1800s, so they still have that same kind of structure. And this campus provides opportunities for adventure while still being very close to a major metropolitan area. Charlotte is only 20 minutes north of there, but they still have the opportunity for both different types. And I searched a lot for a layout of the campus. I really tried to find a virtual tour just so that I could see the physical component better. I wanted to see how easy it would be to navigate campus, or just how close buildings were to each other, or if they offered opportunities for learning and collaboration with others outside of the class. And I know it's kind of hard to see exactly what's on the campus map, but I included it here just to kind of show you the proximity of buildings and how the campus is actually set up. And one thing that I noticed is that the campus is kind of like its own environment, meaning that it's not dispersed throughout a city. And another thing that stuck out to me was the amount of green space that this campus has. Even just looking at pictures on Google, there's so much green space that students can kind of lounge on and enjoy and congregate with other students. And I thought that was really important, just so that students have that chance to get out of buildings, get out of their residence halls, and enjoy the outside. Excuse me. And when it comes to campus spaces, one particular building stuck out to me while researching, and it's actually a 122,000 square foot, 5-floor building that serves as the center of the college community life. It includes a college union as well as a performance hall, and is a typical place for students, faculty, and staff and visitors to gather in formal and informal activities. So that's really one major component that stuck out to me. My group had the physical environment component, and so I definitely wanted to find a building on campus that kind of fits the criteria, where students are able to enjoy different activities, can still learn, and have that space available to them. And that's definitely that building, a 5-foot building, that's definitely got a lot of space for students to have the opportunity to learn outside of campus. I apologize, guys, if you can't hear me or anything. I am really sick, so I'm going to truck through this, and hopefully you can understand me. But for the third component, which is socially constructed, I tried to find as much information as I could. Davidson College campus serves 95% of their students, so a lot of their students are taking advantage of the opportunities that their campus is providing. That's quite a bit of students. It offers more than 200 student organizations that cover a variety of areas, political, and outside, just anything you can think of, they cover it. They've got it. They also serve or have 21 men and women's NCAA Division I sports teams. So there's a lot for students to kind of get involved in. And according to the college website, like I mentioned before, they have a commitment to diversity and inclusion and actively try to seek out staff, faculty, and students from diverse cultures, ethnic races, religions, sexual orientations, gender identities, ages, national origins, and disabilities. So they really try to make sure that their campus has that diversity. Even though the ethnic background of students is predominantly white, the campus still tries to give students diversity and opportunities to learn from other people's cultures and perspectives and identities that they chose to live by. And as far as development opportunities on this campus, they have an organization called Chizzy Leadership Development, and it actually prepares students to exercise leadership in ways that positively impact their campus, community, and world. And lastly, for this component, I wanted to find genuine reviews of this campus in order to try to figure out the campus's culture. Because obviously I didn't have time to go and explore the campus myself. And so I really wanted to see what the college campus is like. And according to informal reviews I found, former and current students said things like, very few people show up to attend anything from clubs or events organized by the student body. Social lives only include drinking and going to pseudo-frats. Sports aren't really a major thing that I noticed that this campus prides itself on. As they mentioned, not a lot of people go to things, so sports aren't really a big deal. And the campus is extremely unopinionated. Academics, one thing I did notice on a positive spectrum is that academics and the professors that they have are top notch. And while they may be challenging at times, a lot of students rave about the professors that they have, that they really teach you and make you learn something, which I think is wonderful. Because there's a lot of schools that have teachers that are just there for a job, but it really seemed like the teachers at the school pride themselves on making sure that their students are learning and getting out what they put into it. And lastly, I'm going to talk about the organizational environment. I was able to find a lot of information that kind of covers this component, and I'm going to try to talk about a little bit of it. But according to the campus's website, they are guided by a vital honor code, and they pretty much pride themselves on respect and trust. Their honor code basically helps guide every decision they make, and the functions of the campus. And since the community is so prominent on this honor code, they actually have a tradition that's based around the honor code, and it's during the first year students they actually have an honor code signing ceremony, and it's a distinctive moment for first-year students. I didn't really specify if they sign the honor code in a big notebook together, but the way they made it seem was that first-year students are taught, I guess, to cherish this honor code and use it throughout their campus environment activities. And they actually have a ceremony dedicated to signing it, which I think is really cool. I've never actually seen that before anywhere else. And a couple of their other traditions include sweethearts at the old well. On the campus, there is a well that used to actually provide water, but it since has not been used for that. But there is a theory that says couples that kiss in front of this well will hear wedding bells soon. So that's kind of a cool little tradition. They also have other ones like a cake race, midnight scream, flicker ball, and a few others. Midnight Scream, I read about it, and it's actually really interesting. At midnight, they all get together and basically scream at the top of their lungs, just to kind of signify the beginning of exams, which I guess is good because it does help you get out some stress. But I can't imagine a big group of students just screaming at the top of their lungs. I bet that's great. But as I mentioned before, the student body has 1,843 students, with the average class size being 16. Students come from 36 states and 23 countries, and there are 74 majors for students to explore. I've included enrollment trends for the university, but overall, 517 students out of 5,712 are enrolled. It's a drastic number that 5,000 plus applied for the school, and only 570 students for the class of 2020 or 2022 are enrolled in the school. And more than half of the faculty has either published, showed, or performed original work over the last 5 years. Some of the publications include 56 books, 46 book chapters, and 655 scholarly peer-reviewed articles. 60% of these publications have had undergraduate students as co-authors, and I thought that was really important to kind of share with you guys, just because that's a big number. More than half of the students are getting involved and helping professors research and be involved. And research is actually kind of a pretty big deal on this campus. Davidson College is a recognized leader in undergraduate research, scholarship, and creative work across all academic programs. And over the last 5 years, there have been $10.3 million in funding from federal, state, and private funding agencies. And then, of course, as funding increases, students are going to participate more and get more out of their educational experience. But that's all I have for you guys. I hope you can understand me and you learned something. And I can't wait to hear what all you have to say. Thank you.